Hello, hello, this is Rod, Live Within Your Means. Hey, this is the ground turkey that I dried the other day in the food dryer here, and I'm going to pull that out now and put it in a bowl and see how well it works to make pemmican. Now, I know most of the things I've seen on the internet say just to use the only lean red meat for the for pemmican. Well, I don't know who it is that tends to believe that only lean red meat can be used for pemmican, but we're gonna make some pemmican now with dried ground turkey. Dried this in the food dryer, and the ground meat has the fat mixed in with it, so obviously it's not just made of lean meat, but we've got a few pounds of ground turkey here, and it'd be interesting to see just how much dried meat that ended up making. Let's see here. Yep, there we go. Of course, these have some grease on them, some of the fat that's still there. I'll be washing all of these up, and we'll get them all washed. Get these out of the way. I don't think you can see what I'm doing here, but I apologize. There is the ground turkey in a bowl here, and we're going to see if we can't crunch that up, and then we'll look at the other things that we can put with those. So, ground turkey worked out, and let's take this over here where we can work with it, reach it a little bit better, and you already know I have not been editing videos, never really learned to do that, but we'll see what we can do. So, all right. There's different ways to mash this all up. We can just break it up with our hands. See how that works. Get this all broken up, and I'm going to weigh it too and see just how much after the moisture's gone out, how much this all weighs. I would imagine there's less than a pound here. And I know that the pemmican, they talk about that, using dried berries with it. I've got dried cranberries, and I've got raisins that I dried in the food dryer to get them a little bit drier so that they can be turned into a powder. Now obviously this can be ground up a bit more. I'm going to weigh it and see how much this turkey weighs, because I'm curious how much it came out. I'm still trying to remember whether I had 2 pounds or 3 pounds of ground turkey to make that up. I'll have to look back on the past video to remember. So, nevertheless, I'm going to weigh this and see just how much it weighs. So, okay. Got another dry bowl here. And what I'm going to do is put this on the scale here just to see how much ground turkey we've got. I should say how much dried turkey we've got. So this bowl looks like it weighs 10 ounces. I've just set that back to 0, and that weighs just over 8.1 ounces. So, I don't know if that was 2 pounds. If it was 2 pounds, then it's taken 75% of the weight out, and which was moisture. And if it was 3 pounds, then obviously 1/6 of that, which is a little bit over 15% left. But I think, yeah, I better not say because I don't remember how much there was. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this a minute, and I'm going to put it in the blender here. But that blender has got to be dry in order to do some powder and stuff in it. So let me just reach down with a dish towel, and we'll try to dry the little bit of moisture that there is out of the blender here. This is a Vitamix. It's a wonderful blender that my wife got many years ago, and boy, it sure has been a wonderful blender. They've even been good enough to replace the two of the, well, let's see, I guess this larger, should we call it a pitcher? Yeah, they replaced this for us. So I'm going to put this turkey in here and just grind that into a powder rather than doing it the way that the Native Americans were doing that with what? I want to say pestle and mortar. With grinding stones, who knows? Let's see how this works, and I'm going to move the camera so that you can see what we're doing here. I've dumped that into the blender, and just want to bring that up a little bit so you can see it. And I admit I don't have the best lighting in here. I apologize for that. But here we go. See if we can't turn that into a powder. There we go. And you can see what I'm doing here. Pretty much pulverized, huh? Glad that that got dried enough that I could turn that into a powder. So just make that a little smaller so we can see what we're doing here. I'm going to put that back into this bowl, and in fact I'm going to put it into the bigger bowl. I'm going to put it into this bowl because what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix that with the other dried stuff and see if we can't figure out how to make pemmican, having never made it before. So we're going to put the pulverized ground turkey into here. It reminds me a little bit of bacon bits, and although this is probably a bit finer than most bacon bits, and it certainly has some fat in it. A lot more than the lean meats that some people are using in their pemmican. Then they add the fat back in. We've got some of the fat already in here, and we'll be looking at adding some other fat to it. So let me move this out of the way. Fit the rest of this out. There we go. So we know we've got about 8 ounces, approximately 8 ounces of dried ground turkey. I got a really good price on that, and that's why I bought it. And I don't want to keep it all in the freezer because, you know, we're looking at future problems with energy, meaning power outages. And the less that we have in the freezers dependent upon electricity to keep them cold, the better for us. So there's our pulverized ground turkey. I'm going to go and get out of the food dryer here, and I'll show you this. So we've got that ground turkey, but on top of that, these other trays, what I had in them, let's see if you can see that okay. Let me zoom in just a little bit and see if we can zoom in. Yeah, there we go. This is cranberries that I pulverized, and this last tray, what I did is I actually added some water to it to get the last of it out of the blender. And you can see there's a sheet of this. It's a little bit more flexible and moist, I suppose, where it was there on the very top than some of the stuff underneath it is likely to be. And I might have to put that back into the food dryer to get it as dry as I want it, because that's not gonna, I don't think that's gonna pulverize very well. So maybe set it over here. It's all gonna be mixed together anyway, so it doesn't hurt it really being on a tray. By the way, these silicone trays, Bright Kitchen makes them. These are the most wonderful trays to pull things off of. If you've ever tried to pull fruit leather off some of the plastic trays, boy, it's a pain. And these silicone trays that Bright Kitchen makes, they are just, I can't even tell you how much easier it is, because you could spend hours getting the dried fruit leather off plastic trays, and this is probably the most time that I've had to spend pulling a type of fruit leather off any of these trays. And because this was so thin, this was really watered down, and I mean there's there's only a few grams of fruit leather altogether on this. Now here's a tray that had the fruit leather from the paste that I ended up getting from blending the cranberries together, and then I put that paste. It looked like tomato paste, but you know, obviously it's a slightly different color of red. But it's so thin and so fine that well, when it gets the places where it's really thin, there's just not much there to pull off. It's almost easier just to wash it off. But we're going to try to use all that we can within reason. So here's basically a fruit leather. We don't want it to be leather. We want it to be a little bit drier. How tempted I am to put it in the microwave and pull, you know, the rest of the water out of that, evaporate the water out of it. Of course, some people would be really against that, and they'd say, oh no, you're destroying the nutrition in it by putting it in the microwave. You know, that may or may not be true. And I know there's a lot of people believe that. You know, you're welcome to put the comments down below and tell me why that is. And if you have links to any studies, actual studies instead of just people's opinions telling how the nutrition is destroyed by the microwave, put that in the comments. I'd like to be able to see that and allow others to know what you know. You can even put your opinions in there if you'd like, but obviously data is more valuable to people than just opinions, because everyone has opinions. And data, you know, from actual studies, that would be really nice and helpful. So I certainly am of the belief that raw vegetables have a lot more nutrition in them than cooked vegetables. And obviously the chemical makeup changes when you cook things. You know, you can turn vegetables into carbon too, you know, or should I say into charcoal. Pretty much. You can burn things right up. So this has a little bit of stuff left on it, but it's so little that I don't really want to take all that apart to get it. Okay, here's some more. Good, we can pull this off in some larger pieces here, it looks like. That's what I want to be able to do. But again, these silicone trays, they're so wonderful. My wife ordered these and she's just been thrilled with them because of how much time we spent pulling fruit leather off of plastic trays. And that's just not any fun at all. So you can spend so much time doing it. So yeah, there's 2 pounds worth of cranberries here. Not 2 pounds, they were 12-ounce packages of cranberries. Nevertheless, berries for the pemmican. We figured that cranberries would be good because truth is, that's what was on sale. And it was after Christmas, and I believe I got those 2 packages of cranberries for 99 cents for the 2. Can't beat that. So here's one more tray of this fruit leather. Oh, look at that, coming off just beautifully. Not perfect, but hey, this was pretty interesting stuff. I'd never made any type of puree out of cranberry before and tried to dry it. So look at that, we got most of that off of this tray. So I'm not convinced that that's going to pulverize very well, but we'll see what we can do here. So, and I do believe that the raisins were so seeming like they weren't going to pulverize very well that I ended up putting them on the tray down below the rest of the stuff, and we'll get that up too. Now let's see if we can get a little more of this cranberry off of here. We don't want to spend a lot of time on it, but yeah, this is the one from the top that had that stuff so thin. Oh, there we go. Get a few other pieces, even though they're extremely thin. Still got Christmas songs on my mind here. Rejoice, rejoice, da 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 da. All right. Trying to grab it. All right, I will get these washed off. Oh, there's still another tray here. It's got the cranberry. Oh, look at that. We've got another tray of the ground turkey too. I had pulled that off and set it aside thinking I was down to the ground turkey, and I was apparently down below the ground turkey. All right. So I guess there was more than 8 ounces of ground turkey. All right. You know, it's been a few days. I've been letting it just sit here on the table even though it hasn't been on. I had it on for the first 24 or so hours, and that pretty much dried most of the stuff what I wanted done on it. And I think what I'll do, I'm going to throw this back on here, just put that moisture side up pretty much, and just dry that just a little bit more. In fact, I'll put it on this tray upside down for the most part. I just want to get a little bit more of that moisture out of this while I'm doing some of this other stuff. So, yep. Move these trays off. I'll show you something. This is one of the old plastic trays. I just put that on the bottom to catch little bits of whatever. But these plastic trays, they're terrible to pull stuff off of. And here's these raisins. They're a lot drier than they were, but they're certainly not dry yet. Not completely dry. So I may have to do a third video on here to make this pemmican. I'm going to throw this back on. We'll throw this back on, and we'll put that top back on and turn this noisy food dryer back on. There we go. And I'm going to take this last bit of ground turkey and I'm going to go, I want to say blend it up, pulverize it. We'll put it with the rest of the stuff and we'll have another video to put the rest of this stuff together. This is Rod. Live within your means and have a wonderful day.